Welcome to Betting Weekly Premier League Show. You with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Nigel, where is the nil-nil detector? We've had 17 this season, more than all of last campaign in total. I mean, surely, wherever it is in your house, your garage, it's been bleeping, it's been going mad, hasn't it?
Well, you won't believe what's happened to the nil-nil detector, honestly. Good morning, well, good afternoon to both. She's only took it down in the loft. She was up the loft the other day getting the Christmas decorations. She found an old box. She took it down to a car boot sale. And first, someone saw it out the car, bought it. Now he's driving around in a Ferrari. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? It's gone. Paul was walked in thinking I'm talking about it. It's a joke from recording. She's thinking, what have I done wrong? What have I sold of his? What have I sold of his?
Are we having this? Is it a boring league, Nigel? There's a lot of talk about nil-nils recently. Is it a boring? I don't think it is it?
Well, I love it when it's a nil-nil. It's not boring to me. But I've sort of changed my sort of strategy, going for goals, and it's gone nil-nil. I think it's whatever I do, they go against it. I think this season's for the first time for a long. I'm actually visibly seeing teams declining in front of my eyes. I'm seeing them tiredness coming in. I see it at Newcastle. I see it at Aston Villa at the weekend. Manchester City, Liverpool. The only ones who keep getting stronger and stronger are Arsenal. And everyone, all these other teams chasing down the pack with European matches. Crystal Palace, we said for weeks and weeks and weeks. I've never seen a demise in teams so quickly over the Christmas period than what I'm seeing here. People say that players shouldn't be playing this, they're footballers, they should be okay to play the amount of games they are. Well, that's why you're seeing these performances, what we are here. But it's quite funny because they sort of don't turn it on against Burnley away and it's a 0-0. And then suddenly Champions League music comes out and they're brilliant. But, it's a strange one. But I think they're tired. I think really it's just incredible how you're seeing these teams just get tired in front of us over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Jack, I mean, the average goal count is 2.74 in the Premier League. It's not low historically. I mean, are you having it? Should we be betting unders here? How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good day to you both and everyone watching and listening. We should be betting unders when they are unders, yeah, and we should go overs when they're overs, really. It's
obviously.
That's the easiest thing I can say about it. It's been a mixed bag, hasn't it? Sometimes we get these ridiculous games. We've seen it this season with 4-5s and crazy 4-4 draws and stuff like that. And then we're getting games we expect to go off the charts and it's a 0-0 or a 1-1. So it's tough, but I'm completely on board with what Nigel said there. I think it's been a relentless season. We've had, obviously, some clubs, it's been the Club World Cup was in the summer, and that's impacted. You've got sides that aren't really equipped to be going into European competition, having to play weekends and then a midweek and constantly. There's sides that have not had a non-midweek game since August, and that's telling its toll on smaller squads. You're seeing it with the likes of Bruno. We mentioned him the other day, Guimaraes for Newcastle, that he looked out on his feet coming off the pitch the other day. And lo and behold, he picks up an injury a game or two later, and say it is relentless. And the level that they play at in the Premier League is different from the other leagues across Europe. So yeah, I think you are going to get that peak and trough scenario. So it's tough to call. We know that, but that's what we're here to try and do, and we'll do it this week, I'm sure.
Yeah, look, bettors have got to take in lots of factors when making their investments. 94-95, Nigel. 51 clean sheet. 51 clean sheets. 51 nil-nil.
First house.
That was
had a 6-week cruise around the Caribbean. What a year that was.
The big game of the weekend. Don't think we're going to get 0-0. But you never know. Arsenal versus Manchester United, Sunday, 11:30. Arsenal minus 175 here. Manchester United are plus 500. The tie plus 295. Going to 7 clear, Nigel, at the top of the table. Brilliant win over Serie A leaders Inter in midweek. He's gone a little bit under the radar. That they made 7 changes from their Premier League draw at Forest previously. And while United did defeat City last time out in the derby, well, everyone's beating City at the minute, even Bird. I mean, should Mikel Arteta's side be short of the minus 175? Give us the lowdown for Arsenal United.
Well, I don't think they should, because the way that Man City are dropping points and the way that Aston Villa look tired as well, draws, going in, winning, getting draws are not bad results for Arsenal. I mean, they're so far clear, and they got the luxury of going to this match knowing that they've qualified for the top 8 in the Champions League after 7 wins and 7
top 2.
Yeah,
top
I mean, incredible.
2,
I mean, and resting those players. I mean, the squad depth is just insane. I did something yesterday which you might think I'm crazy, and a lot of people think I might be a little bit crazy, but I mean, I bet Arsenal to win all 4 trophies just at 50 to 1. I think 50 to 1's a big price.
Interesting.
I think 50 to 1's a big price. Because
Yeah.
Man City having such a decline, Aston Villa looked tired. That win against Inter Milan was a statement win. They beat Bayern Munich at home as well. Chelsea, I'm not convinced about this team defensively. I'm not convinced by the manager in the Carabao Cup. They play Man City now. If they play Man City in the Carabao Cup final, what price?
Favourites?
Well, they're going to be big favourites anyway, but could even be stronger favourites if Man City continue that, and Guardiola might not even be there. You've also got the FA Cup where they've been drawn at home to Wigan. Then they're going to be in the last 16. Their reserve team is probably better than anyone in the Premier League other than a full strength Manchester City side. Even their third team is good as half side. And I think they're going under the radar in that front because of the style that they're playing. They're not winning brilliantly. They're just doing effectively stuff. If it was Man City doing that swagger that they did a couple of years ago, we'd be betting them at 10 to 1 to win this. But I think they're the best team in Europe by a mile. And I think this one here is an interesting match because Manchester United come in on the back of their best performance of the season. They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Carrick made the changes, brought in the different personnel. Mainu played. Kuno was on the bench, but Mbeumo's return was instant with the goal. Fernandes was exceptional. Harry Maguire come back at the back. They looked like the old Man United, but we've seen this movie before, haven't we? We've seen Man United, and then all of a sudden they struggle. This is going to be an interesting game. Would I bet Arsenal at -175? I wouldn't. But the goal XG for both of these teams in recent weeks has been incredible. The combined XG for Arsenal in the last 3 matches is almost 8, and Manchester United is almost just over 6. So these are 2 of the most attacking sides in the Premier League, despite how strong Arsenal are defensively as well. Arsenal have been conceding goals in recent weeks. I think 5 of their last 6 matches, they've conceded a goal. 4 of the last 5 at home. Both teams have been a score. And I think it's just a question of which goal angle you want to go with. So I'm flipping the 0-0 detector, getting away with the unders. I like goals here. And they're both similar prices. Over 2.5 goals is -134. And both teams score yes is -136. So I think I'll have to take the lower price of the 136. And, you get the 1-1 in that as well. So, yeah, I think both teams will score here. I fancy goals. I think it'll be a great watch. I would probably expect Arsenal just to edge it. But I think there'll be goals in it. And I think Arsenal thoroughly deserve to be -175. And Manchester United, we need a little bit more to prove if they're back just yet after one match against what has been, as we've seen in recent weeks, a Man City that's on the decline and in transition.
Yeah, look, I think that is a very accurate assessment. Jack, what you got to add here? We bet in Arsenal, we bet in United. What's the play?
No, it's a tough one because of all those reasons Nigel outlined there, and I think I totally agree. What are we going to get for Man United? We don't know. They were exceptional last week. There's no getting away from it. I said on the live show on Monday, it turned my stomach a little bit because they decided they wanted to switch it on. There's no way Michael Carrick's changed that much in 3 training sessions, and he won't be able to do too much more this week. And it's like the players have gone, we want to be up for this one. We're going to play this one. And they'll be exactly the same here. Go into the title favourites, go into the league leaders. This is a game that is easy for them to get up for, and they've got the big players to go out and do that. The fact that they left both Cunha and Seshko, who then come into form for Man United on the bench, that shows a little decent amount of strength and depth in their forward areas as well. So let's not forget, at the start of the season, this was probably, the reverse fixture was probably one of the best performances Man United put in under Amorim as well. They absolutely battered Arsenal at Old Trafford, got beat by an only goal, but it was completely against the run of play, and Man United definitely deserves something from it. But yeah, last week they were exceptional, and they could go and do a similar job here. I've gone with the fact that they've put Bruno Fernandes into that more advanced position, that number 10, which really suits him. He was breaking the lines. He was bursting into the box. He had a goal disallowed. He created 3 big chances and also got an assist. So I've gone here as a lean because I do think goals as well. Bruno Fernandes to score or assist. Very close to being an official play because it's +220. And I think that's a big price for someone who'll be back on penalties, take set pieces, and is being a real threat in open play. And I think he can cause Arsenal a few problems, given the fact that, as we've said, they are conceding a few goals. So that would be where my lean would go in what should be a really entertaining game.
City play before Arsenal, of course. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Man City are -560 now to beat Wolves at +1,400. The tie +600. City, Nigel, have lost their last 2. Haven't won in 5 in the Premier League. They could easily win big, of course, because they're capable. If Haaland has a going day, then they could be on it. But do you want to pay -2 on the Asian line to find out? What's your thoughts here?
No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, City haven't won in the Premier League this year. This just shows you that what they're about at the moment, decline, and they're giving up so many goals. The last two matches, what you've seen from Man United and Bodo Glimt is basically the blueprint of how to beat Man City. Get at them, loads of pace, hit them on the counter-attack, and get into that leaky defence. And I think Wolves have a lot of pace up front, a lot of youth that I think they'll get into them and give them all kinds of problems here. You know, I wouldn't rule off anyone having a bit of pizza money on Wolves at 14-1 here, because when Man City go, they really go. I mean, that run they went on before last season, they went on a terrible, terrible losing run, and they're in that. The body language of Haaland was really bad. He had a knock last week in the Premier League, and I thought, you know what, it might be a time to bet Thiago to be the top goal scorer, because it didn't look, his mobility looked out, his fitness levels looked low. No supply at all from anybody. Foden's just gone, you know, looking like the foot player he was in recent weeks. The whole side just looks out. Nothing from it at all. Obviously, on the plus side for them, Semenyo comes back. Obviously, you got Mark Gahey starting, which I think will shore up that defence a lot. I think he'll start in this game straight away. But I do think they're gettable here. I really do. I mean, Wolves have scored in 7 of their last matches. I think both teams have scored. Yes, it's a decent price at -105. If you look at the XG again for the last 3 matches combined, I always look at the 3 combined to give you a rough idea. Wolves have got bigger XG than Manchester City in their last 3 matches, in their Premier League matches. Defensively, they've shored it up. They're unbeaten. You're looking at a side here unbeaten. And when you look at them, they've played some of the top teams. They played Newcastle, drew 0-0. Man United 1-1. Liverpool 2-1. Good performance. Really unlucky to lose in the last minute against Arsenal. And you want to bet this Man City side to win by more than 3 goals against Wolves? I think Wolves +2 at -110 is a decent way to get with it. They come very close to being official play. And it just shows you how bad Man City are, or that there is a lack of confidence in Manchester City, that I've got Haaland in my fantasy team and I still got my triple captain. And I'm not even going to bother with him playing against Wolves. You know, six weeks ago, you would have had, definitely get 4 goals. But I'm not sure. I'm not swayed by this. And also, in midweek, Man City have a massive match in the Champions League against Galatasaray. Huge match. And I think Wolves can get at them. This is no gimme. No, -560. Oh, no way would I be betting that. They could win 7-0, but I don't think I'll look foolish. But Wolves +2, -110 would be my lean, and both teams to score yes at -105.
Yeah, Nigel referenced that losing run, and it's a losing run, not just a non-winning run for City last season. 5 on the spin they lost, and they lost 9 in a 12-game period. So when they do go, they do go. I mean, Wolves unbeaten in 5 in all competitions, Jack. I mean, they've covered the Asian line in 7 of their last 8. The only one that they didn't is when we were lumping on in the home games against Brentford. That's just our luck this season here. You are of a similar thinking that you'll take a swing on getting with Wolves somehow.
I'm on the same thinking, yeah. +2 was my lean on this one. Again, one that you're tempted to play as an official one, but you just do know that City do have it in the locker that they can go and run riot. But Wolves haven't been that much of a pushover on the road all season. And certainly in more recent games, they've been very tight, very compact. What he's done, Rob Edwards, has certainly made that defence. Where the better form has come from is the fact they've been more defensively sound. And that's been a point where they can build some foundations on it and pick some points up. And so they've been winless on the road, but they've not been embarrassed really at all throughout the campaign. So they held on to a point against Newcastle last time out. So winners in 11 road trips, but they tied the last 2, 1-1 with Everton and with Manchester United. And they covered his handicap in 8 of 11 on the road. And so a push decent. And only two defeats for this. And that includes cash in the bet at Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa and Newcastle. That's a really good body of work for a side that have been so poor in the league to have been that close. And Nigel absolutely spot on with the fact that big game against Manchester, Galatasaray next week for City means that even if they do take a 1-2 goal lead, they will have one eye on that and they don't want to be risking players. They don't need to go and win this 5, 6, 7. Their concern is probably get the 3 points. Let's park it up and let's move on and get that big game next week sorted out. So, yeah, for me, I think +2 Asian handicap. That's the play as a lean.
Haaland without a goal in open play in 8 and only 5 open play goals in his last 16 appearances, incidentally. Cue hat-trick for Haaland. Bournemouth, Liverpool. We've got some official plays. We've got some units being staked on this one. This is Saturday, 12:30 Eastern. Liverpool minus money favourites here. Unbeaten in 13. We talked about it last week, Nigel. Are they sneaky good all of a sudden? I mean, they were good against Marseille. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but not so good against Burnley at home. Not so good against Arsenal in the draw. Not so good against Fulham in the draw as well. But they are getting back to, and it's a rebuild. You know, they had problems with strikers, which is incredible. But now Salah is back. We're getting the best out of Florian Wirtz. I said last week as a lean, I thought he was a bet to score, and he scored. Obviously, the leans always cash, and the official plays don't. But I just think the price here is too big on Liverpool. I think minus 118 is a price that I want to get involved in. I mean, I know Bournemouth did play very well against Brighton and should have probably got a win there. That amazing goal at the end stopped them from getting a win. But I just think that losing the players, the calibre of players that are losing, and obviously Semenyo going as well now, this is going to be a very, very difficult task for an informed Liverpool. If you look at the odds here, Liverpool, as you say, are unbeaten in 13. Bournemouth are only 1-1 in 14, and yet you're getting just under even money about the champions of England going to Bournemouth. And, you know, Bournemouth is a tricky place. A lot of teams have found this a tricky place, not Liverpool. They love this match. In the last few fixtures, 2-0 they won, 4-0 they've won. They've got beat 1-0, 3-0, 4-0. Since this has become a Premier League fixture, 18 matches they've played, 15 Liverpool wins, 2 Bournemouth wins and 1 draw. So Liverpool have got this, that the Bournemouth matchup for Liverpool is a good matchup. They won it very easy last season. Opening day of the season, they won 4-2. That was a bit of a scoreline that flattered Liverpool, but that was the emergence of Semenyo. He was man of the match in that game, 2 goals. Was exceptional. But I just think Liverpool are on the road back here. And the other thing for them as well, they've cemented their knockout space in the Champions League, so they can go all out this one. They're in the FA Cup. They can concentrate on that much. And they have 3 home games after this match: Qarabağ, Newcastle, Man City. Win against Newcastle, win against Man City. They're back into contenders to finish second in the Premier League. So it's a big period of time for Liverpool. I like what I see from them at the moment. They're getting key players back. Salah was obviously a key one. Wirtz is looking like the player that we paid the money for. Goals as well, you know, Kakpo, Ekitike as well, weighed him a couple yesterday. And performances are pretty good. A good 3-0 win at a tricky place, Marseille. I think they'll beat Bournemouth. I think the matchup stylistically works for them. And minus 118, I like Liverpool as my first official play this week.
One you play for, Nigel, just shy of even money, Liverpool to win at the Vitality. And yeah, I also think, just picking up on the way, maybe it is starting to become Slot's team now, Jack, a little bit. I thought Kirkes, after a very slow start to his Liverpool career, is starting to look good. Frimpong played right back. I know people say he's not right back, but he did well in midweek. It looks like the shape of Liverpool is changing, and the key components are starting to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Szoboszlai is really shining. I know he's made a couple of rickets in the last couple of weeks, but again, a superb free kick last night. He's kind of getting games by the scruff of his neck. His range of passing, his shooting is fantastic. Salah back, as we talked about there. Kirkes, yeah, you go from a club, obviously against his old club here, go from a club like Bournemouth, no disrespect to them, but then to go into the kind of pressure cooker environment of going to Liverpool, people seem to expect it's just going to be a seamless transition. Yes, he's a good player. He showed that over the last sort of couple of seasons, but it does, take a little bit of transition. We've seen it with Florian Wirtz, and that's where my official play is here. I'm only having half a unit on it. Nigel leaned on Wirtz last week, and I just think in a game that, again, Nigel took a few of my words out of my mouth there. Stylistically, I was going to say suits this game for goals, and I think if Liverpool are going to be getting goals, Florian Wirtz is likely to be involved in them one way or another. He has started to show exactly why they spent big on him and why he lit up the Bundesliga over the last couple of seasons. So to score or assist at plus 155, I think is a decent price. And he has been doing just that over the last few weeks. And I think this game suits itself to these kind of players that will get those opportunities. There will be goals. There will be opportunities. Bournemouth throw up a lot of opportunities and a lot of chances. We saw what Liverpool did against Burnley. They absolutely peppered Burnley. 32 shots, 11 on target. Only 1 went in, and that was from Wirtz. So, he's 4 goals, 2 assists in his last 8 appearances for Liverpool. And I think he'll have a great opportunity to add to either at least one of those totals this weekend at plus 155. So, yeah, half a unit on it for me as an official play.
Australian Open tennis, of course, is ongoing, and Nigel, Sean and Tim have been crushing it daily, and you've got the opportunity To get an Aussie Open bonus bet from Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers, all you have to do is enter the bonus code BWAO26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on an Australian Open wager. The code is BWAO26. The offer expires on January the 31st. Must be 21, eligible players only. Also, when you log in to Bet Rivers, you can receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on the day's matches. London Derby for us next. Palace against Chelsea, Sunday, 9 a.m. here. Palace plus 245. Chelsea plus 104. The tie plus 270. Gay gone. Glasner going to go at the end of the season, probably. Nigel, it's unravelling at Selhurst. As predicted, are we still fading Palace?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think plus 104 Chelsea is massive. Look at the way what's going on. About every week is a soap opera. No wins in 10. Captain's going, the manager's going, the top goal scorer wants out as well. It's a crisis, and it's an absolute crisis. And I was at the reverse fixture on the first day of the season where Chelsea played this game, and against Palace it was 0-0, and it was famous for that. Eze scored a free kick that was retaken, but it shouldn't have been retaken. But Chelsea absolutely battered Palace. But when you look at that team that started for them that day, they had Mark Gay, England international, gone. Eze, gone. Yeah. Munoz, best player for Crystal Palace, consistent player for the last 18 months, not in the team. Sarr, whether he returns, I doubt. I don't think he'll return for this game. Mateta wants out. And now you're relying on places like Devaney, Lerma. It's a big downgrade from that team. The bench for Palace at the weekend summed it up in the Sunderland match. It was just full of kids, and that's what he said. He felt he was abandoned, and he felt that he was. I mean, he wanted to be sacked. There's no doubt about it, but it never worked out for him. He wanted to go, Glasner. But I think this is another tough one, a real tough one. And this is a fixture that Palace have always struggled with. Actually, Palace have at last time they beat Chelsea at Selhurst Park was back in 2017. They've last 7 matches they haven't won this fixture. So Chelsea have always done very well. Defensively, Chelsea I worry about, but they did keep a clean sheet in midweek. Cole Palmer might be back for this match. He missed the Champions League match, but there's talk that he'll be back for this match. They've suffered a virus in the camp in the last week, Chelsea, but I think players will be back for this game. My only worry is Chelsea have a huge Champions League game against Napoli, which is Conte going back, and it's a huge match for them and for Rosinia. But Rosinia's done all right at the moment, back-to-back wins for Chelsea, and I just think the price has tempted me here. I mean, if you had said to me, there's a team that haven't won in 10. This manager wants away. Centre forward wants away. Team captain's gone. Best players out injured. Conceding goals. And you've got a Chelsea side who have got all their... And you can bet them at plus money. I think I'd have to do it. I don't think the price has factored in enough the turmoil at Selhurst Park. I think it's looked at Chelsea sort of undecided about the new manager and the personnel, and also factored in that match against Napoli. So it's the price that swayed me as an official play, plus 104. I understand there is some pit holes along the way that we could fall into if they look at the Champions League game. But I just think anybody at plus money at this moment in time playing Crystal Palace has got to be worth looking at, because I think they're in turmoil.
Are we fading Chelsea, Jack? What's your handle on there? No. Sorry, fading Palace. What's your handle here?
No, total agreement with Nigel, my lean as well. And again, very close to being official. There's just a couple of question marks as far as like the team news and so on and so forth for me, which is why I didn't make official. But I think it's a big price. They shouldn't be. I think they should be minus money here. Plus 104 is huge. Palmer, I think he was seen with the strapping on his thigh, so that's one certainly to keep a close eye on, because I think that price might change again if there's fact that he's ruled out for a little while. But they've got the strength in depth, and Enzo Fernandez, we talked about him last week, he might then go into that 10 role, which I think really suits him as well. You then got other players that will come into that more of a deeper role. And one thing we would say about Palace is they've generally over the last few weeks in this run have been competitive. They even sometimes take the lead, but they're competitive. And then because of this fatigue we talked about, they just fall away in the second half, maybe even the last 20 minutes or longer. And what's the one team that's got amazing strength and depth? They've got incredible talent they can bring off the bench, be it Garnacho if they want to play him, Estevao if they want to bring him on. They've got Pedro Neto there. They've got João Pedro. The endless stream of attacking, fast, pacey, athletic talent that they can bring on, which could run this very, very tired Palace side ragged. So even if it's tight, getting later on into the game, I'd still back Chelsea to edge it because of that reason as well. So I think, big price, plus 104 for Chelsea.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, even when they had players, they were sort of getting a little bit fatigued late on in games. There was lots of turnarounds, lots of good in play potential with Palace, even if they do take the lead, or getting Chelsea at a bigger price if it's 0-0 at half time, and so on. A couple of quick leans from you. Newcastle Villa here. Obviously, Villa playing in the Europa League against Fenerbahce. We're not quite sure what they're going to do, Jack. But Newcastle were impressive against PSV in midweek. But Bruno Guimaraes looks like he's going to be out. That's a minus.
Yeah, big blow for him on that one. I've just got a lean here on Newcastle to win at minus 110. And the reason that I'm kind of not really strong on this game is there's just too many unanswered questions. You've already said it after we record this. Villa are playing in the Europa League. We don't know what's going to happen there, be it performance-wise or be it injury-wise. Emery came out with that really weird post-match interview saying that they're kind of not going to be in the top 5 after that really poor performance against Everton. And that rings alarm bells when they're at home and they throw in one like that. Let's see what they do tonight. Can they bounce back? Hard place to go, Newcastle. But Newcastle, these are two sides we talked about at the top of the show. These are two sides that are pretty much the poster campaign for sides that are running on fumes due to the fact that they've got a relatively small squad that are being asked to go and go and go again. Involvement in all these competitions is taking its toll. I just feel that with home advantage, I'll generally always side with Newcastle. So at minus 110, that's a decent price. Against the Villa side that again, there's rumours about potential player departures there as well, and Emery didn't seem a happy bunny last weekend, so I'm happy to go with Newcastle, albeit as a lean. There's a lot unanswered about this one, so just a lean.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that. I think Nigel, I mean, it's difficult to know. I mean, the cracks seem to be appearing with Unai Emery. I mean, I just can't trust Villa at the minute. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's only one match, isn't it? It was a bad performance against Villa. Last week, you played us
but
back.
He's tetchy, isn't he?
Yeah, but you
Do
played
know
the
what I mean?
video back of last week. We were saying they're unbeaten and they're brilliant. I mean, it just
That's
shows you how quickly things can change in football. I think the fact is here that Newcastle have a big Champions League game again next week. They have a match against Man City in the Carabao Cup. The games are coming fast. And if you look at their next 3 road matches, it's PSG, Liverpool and Man City on the road. Their next 7 matches, they've got 6 away games, including a trip to Villa in the FA Cup as well. So it's where their game state is. Have they got enough legs to go again here? I think the fact that Villa play Fenerbahce away is an advantage for Newcastle, who played at home in the Champions League. So I think that's a big advantage for them. On the money line, I've actually gone in our favour a little bit. They're minus 108 currently now on the BetRivers app, if you download the app there. But the other angle is, I just think the goal threat they have at home is so strong. I mean, 14 of their 15 last 15 matches at home, they scored 2 or more goals. So if you consider that they're minus 132 to score 2 or more goals, and then minus 108 to win the match, well, if they're going to score 2 or more, the chances are they're going to win the match. So I've done it, Grant. I think Newcastle here at minus 108 would be my lean. Remember, it was a 0-0 draw in the first match of the season, which was a shock when you consider where these both teams are at the moment. But I think both of them are tired. Both of them are, you've got to really think about trusting with your hard-earned cash. But if I had to have a choice, I'd have to go with Newcastle with that goal threat they have at home.
10 a.m. Saturday, Burnley, Tottenham. Jack, Tottenham at plus 106. Obviously, Thomas Frank still under massive pressure, but it looks like they're going to get top 8 in the Champions League. They take on Eintracht Frankfurt, who are out of the competition next midweek. I mean, what do they do with this game? Got a great away record. I mean, I'm tempted with even money, just a bit bigger Spurs. What about you?
It is tempting. We did have a quick chat off air about this one, and you said if you take the names out, would they be more appealing? They probably would be more appealing if it was X versus Y, and all the stats were there for the away team to win this at plus 102. So that's my lean. I have I've gone over 2.5 goals. That's my lean on it. But I would be looking to lean as far as the outcome is concerned, that Spurs might edge it. Big win for them. Will they take confidence from it? They have been better on the road as well this season, especially in the Premier League. And we got a goal for Solanke, albeit in the Champions League. So he's back. That's a massive boost for them. They've got a striker that we talked up at the start of the season. Let's hope he gets a few goals in these games. And there's a chance here against Burnley, a Burnley side that have been kind of swinging and scoring goals, albeit, like kind of said, they got absolutely pumped last week by Liverpool and managed to hang on for a 1-1 draw. They managed to get a goal from somewhere. So they're winless in 13. So I think they've got to that stage where they've just got to come out and give it a go. 8 of Spurs' 11 road trips have seen this bet cash. So I think it's going to take a similar turn. Burnley's first 7 home games went under 2.5 goals, but 3 of their subsequent 4 have gone over. So I'm going to go for that trend to continue here.
Overs for Jack, just a lean. Nigel, Spurs second in the away-only table, but Burnley unbeaten in 3 in all competitions. I thought they were lucky at Anfield, but they still got a point. It'll give them a bit of confidence. I'm still going to bet Spurs for the record. What are you betting?
I don't know if I could bet Spurs around even.
Well, this is it, though, isn't it?
I don't know if I can trust them. I think Burnley will relish the opportunity to take Spurs on here, given that the manager's under pressure. I mean, if this was last season with Ange going for the Europa League, they would have sacked this game off and concentrate on the European
this is it. Are we starting to see the same thing?
Well,
Nigel?
we are, but
does
the thing
feel
is,
the same?
look what happened to him when he won the Europa League, and then his league form was bad. I mean, could the same happen here? To get to the Champions League quarterfinals,
win the Champions League,
and then get sacked. I mean, it's crazy, but the world we live in is what it is. I think it's a massive match for both sides, to be perfectly honest with you. Obviously, Scott Parker's got some history with Spurs. They want to do a number on them. I mean, I've been quite impressed with them. Their resilience, not really their style, but their resilience. They were so fortunate to get the point against Liverpool. That was played again. They concede 3 goals in that match, no problem. But it's just a question of whether you want to get with Spurs here around even money. Not for me. I think the goal for your heart and for having it surviving a decent 90 minutes or not the 90 minutes, is the inquest after when you've bet Spurs again at even money and they've let you down 2-1. That's the thing. For that, I think I'd have to go with goals again, leaning towards goals over 2.5. Yes, plus 102. But I do expect both teams to score here, which is minus 129. And I'm not quite sure that Solanke will play. Van der Ven is obviously linked with a move away. He didn't play, obviously was suspended. I think that's questionable there. And there's still signs that the Spurs are not in the Premier League. They're not to be trusted. So I'd be very, very careful if I was betting Spurs in this match.
Yeah, no, I take all that on board, and it's one of those things. If the bet doesn't come off, you sat there on when is the game? So you sat there Saturday night thinking, what on earth have I bet Spurs even as away for? But look, I'm going to bet them for the record.
Spurs, West Ham, Raducanu, England cricket team. There's
a long list.
Very, very Queens Park Rangers. For some reason, I'm a QPR fan. Every time I bet QPR, they let me down. Every time
there's a long list.
It's a long list of people who can't trust it. And Spurs are definitely high at the top of that list.
To kick off the weekend in the EPL, it's West Ham, Sunderland. Nigel, which is 7:30 Eastern here. Look, Nuno stopped the rot with that win at Spurs for West Ham, but I'm not quite sure they should be favourites against Sunderland, who have got players back from AFCON here. I mean, West Ham plus 150, Sunderland plus 185 feels about right, but you played Sunderland draw no bet, which was a good play last week. I'd be the same again. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's the fact that Sunderland don't score enough goals on the road, and I think their attitude when they're away is to try not to lose rather than to go out and win. I think this is going to be a real nervy match at West Ham. I think if Nuno loses this, then the crowd are on their back. If they win this, they think, well, we've got a chance, because Nottingham Forest have a tricky match as well, which we're going to come on to. So it's a massive match. I think it's all about the attitude of Sunderland. I mean, Sunderland matches this season have been very, very low scoring on the road. Lots of draws as well. They only lost 1 in 8, but 5 draws. They went to Everton and won in the FA Cup in a penalty shootout, but they defended and hit them on the break. That is what they do, Sunderland. They did that to perfect against Chelsea when they won. Only 5 goals scored. That's my worry. And that's the lowest road goals for Sunderland alongside Wolves. So with nervousness in the air, with West Ham fans tinkering on excitement or rage, I feel this is going to be a low-scoring match, under 2.5 goals. If I could get the 0-0 detector back from that guy in the Ferrari, I think it would be bleeping. I think it would be bleeping for this one here.
It could be anywhere. It could be anywhere in the world. It could be one of those things like he's got nicked. You get like these. You get your mobile phone nicked and you've still got your Find My Phone. It ends up in a market in Shenzhen in China or something like that. Yeah. I think you should, have you got one of those little Apple things?
I'm designing Find My 0-0 detector. I'm doing that at the moment. You can download it. But I think under 2.5 goals here is the bet. The only worry about that is West Ham's defence. We know that they're a bit flaky, to say the least, but I've got a feeling here that West Ham will try not to get beat as well. And Sunderland definitely would make this long trip to try and go back with the point. So interested in the draw as well, plus 230, but I think under 2.5 goals is my best unders bet of the weekend.
Jack, you have got an official play in this. We go to the props and goal scorers for your play.
Yeah, I've gone a half a unit on a big play. I pinpointed West Ham's. Well, I've done it most of the season really. Their inability to defend anything in the air, set pieces especially. And I pinpointed it last week, and I went with Mickey van der Ven to score, didn't I, against them? And unfortunately, it was his centre-back partner scored with a header, Christian Romero. So we were close, but I'm not going to take anything to chance. This time around, I've gone official, and it's Daniel Ballard, so Sunderland's big centre-back. I think, Nigel just pinpointed how he sees the game going. I think it's going to be pretty much that. Counter-attack and set pieces for Sunderland. West Ham will be nervous. Their crowd are nervous. Having home advantage isn't really that for West Ham. We know that their crowd are not happy, and if Sunderland can keep this tight for a while, they've certainly got the tools to hurt West Ham in that area. They are vulnerable. Long throw-ins are going to come into the box, so anything that they get, it's not we're relying on corners like we used to really, or free kicks around the box to throw it in. Any throw-in effectively in West Ham's half, that's going to go into the box, and the main target there is Daniel Ballard. So I went through the stats last weekend for West Ham. The fact that they've moved and for the better after that performance last week is crazy. They conceded more goals than any other team, 44. Set pieces, they conceded 9 set-piece attempts last weekend. So they went to 103, which is now the worst in the Premier League. Conceded the most as well, 13 goals from set pieces. They conceded 87 headed attempts. They conceded 6 headed attempts at goal last weekend against Spurs. Which is the most in the Premier League now. 12 headed goals. So because there was one again last week from Romero. So the main man in that respect for Sunderland is Ballard. 13 headed shots this season, which is well clear. It's 5 clear of anyone else for Sunderland in Premier League action. 19 shots in total from him, so he has had other avenues to goal. 9 of those on target, so quite a decent ratio as well. And he scored 2 goals. He scored against Arsenal, of course, in that kind of real statement tie for Sunderland. And he also scored in the reverse fixture against West Ham to start this rot, which West Ham can't seem to get out of. Nuno can't get to the bottom of it. Still no clean sheet in 17 league games for Nuno at West Ham. And I'm going to take it to continue, and I'm going to take it from a familiar avenue. Ballard to score at plus 600, just half a unit on it.
Fulham Brighton is a 10 a.m. Saturday kickoff. Fulham plus 148, Brighton plus 185 here. Nigel, Fulham saw their unbeaten run of 6 end with that 1-0 reverse at Leeds. But they've got players back from AFCON. Iwobi, Bassi Chukwueze are going to bolster Marco Silva's squad here. Brighton unbeaten in 5, but I thought were a little bit disappointed. I bet them against Bournemouth and lost my money in there. It's a tricky one. As the odds suggest here, what's your thoughts?
Big market drift as well on Brighton, wasn't there? It was a big market drift.
Yeah, there was. They sent off evens, weren't they? In the end,
there was a big market drift for them. And the market, to be fair, the big market moves have got it spot on. There was a huge move for Manchester United last week against Man City. So, check out the last minute moves. I think that's one of the disadvantages we have on this show. And I'm not making excuses, but to do this show on a Thursday, and then when all the information comes on a Saturday and you see the market move, it's a massive advantage to check those moves, because the big moves in the Premier League in the last couple of weeks have been right on the money. This one here, I think, I'm quite surprised at Fulham plus 148 actually, because I think these two sides are very evenly matched, and when you've got a team that's evenly matched, you would expect them to be a little bit shorter than plus 148. The angle of attack for me though is goals again. I think there'll be goals. Both teams to score yes would be my bet here. It was 1-1 on the opening day of the season. 4 of the last 5 between these two sides. Seen both teams to score yes. Fulham with those players back make them a much better attacking proposition. They failed to score last week when we bet them against Leeds. And Leeds won that game, and both teams to score bet we both had. 14 matches at home this season for Fulham. They scored in 13 of them. And for Brighton, 15 road matches in all competition. They scored in 11. So it's got a goals for me. Both teams to score yes is minus 155. And I also quite like the tie at plus 235. I think when you get 2 evenly matched sides, as I said before, I think the tie comes into it. I think this will be an entertaining watch. 1-1, 2-2. Both teams to score yes.
Both teams are profitable. Both teams to score teams in the Premier League this season. Incidentally, similar thinking from you, Jack, in this one, just a lean?
Yeah, just to lean on goals, over 2.5 goals, minus 112. I also think Fulham might edge it as well. They've got a very good record against Brighton, especially at home as well. And Brighton are 1 win in 9. It's just that side that's still just tough to call. And both these sides, really, when we talked about it with sides, Nigel then said there about like betting on QPR. Wherever I seem to jump with Fulham or Brighton, I seem to come out on the wrong side of it. They're just those sort of sides that are kind of have trends, but then they've got that unpredictability about them. They'll throw in an odd game, which is weird. So I've gone with a lean here. I fancy it. It's a strong lean, but again, because of that, I couldn't quite pull the trigger. Over 2.5 goals, minus 112 is what I've gone with, say, for all those reasons.
Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Sunday, 9 a.m. Forest at Braga tonight. Jack, Brentford, obviously very good at home and a bit unlucky against Chelsea. I thought they're second in the 6-match form tables. The Bees, we've got a 2-unit play coming your way, Jack.
Yeah, this is the one real main line that I like this week. So I've gone with 2 units on it and so scattered a couple of little smaller bets on the players' angle. So this is the one that really stands out to me, the one that will have my money on it, and it's Brentford to win at minus 103. So 2 units has gone on it. And it just is a standout bet for me for Brentford, who are so good at home. And you rightly say, they were really unlucky to get beaten by Chelsea last weekend. They had so many opportunities, so many chances, and they ran into Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, in good form. And that's really unlucky, to be fair, because he's normally throwing the odd goal or 2 in, and he kept out so many big opportunities, 15 shots to 6, 5 on target to 2, 54% of the ball against Chelsea, 9 corners to 3 as well. So it's going to give them confidence that although that's ended their 6-game unbeaten run, they're generally not the strongest on the road, but super strong at home. And now they're back on home soil and with a complete free week to prepare for this one. Unlike Forest, I think that gives them double advantage, really, to be honest with you. And so Forest have struggled at times this season. They do throw up lots of chances. They've conceded 34 goals, which is the 6th most in the Premier League. Their expected goals aligns with that as well. So they're getting kind of what they deserve. And they do have a big Europa League game after record of this on Thursday. So ahead of this game. So very little preparation time. It's against Braga, away as well. So it all counts against them. And when you look at their performances when they've come back from European action, they've lost 4 of their 6 games immediately following their Europa League games. But most of those have been at home. They've had 2 on the road after they've come back from Europa League action and lost them both. 1 to Newcastle, which you can probably say, yeah, that's not the biggest shock. But they also lost to Bournemouth on the road as well. So that kind of puts that into context that Brentford are one of the strongest home sides. So I am going to take them to come up clutch, as they have done so often this season and for us on the show, at minus 103. And I am going to go 2 units on it. That's how strong it is.
To you, we've also got another unit on the game from Nigel, but we are into the prop markets. Nigel, but obviously, give us your moneyline thoughts as well as your prop bet.
Yeah, I think it's. I like Brentford, but I've gone for Thiago to score any time because he's a bigger price. He's plus 108, and Brentford are minus 103. And when they play at home, Thiago usually scores. 11 home matches this season for the Bees, 9 goals for Thiago. He scored 2 or more in 4 of those 11 matches as well, which, it's a very, very short sample. But if you're looking at 2 or more, if you look at his season stats, it should be plus 175. He's plus 490 to score 2 or more. As I've said before, I think he's a very underrated striker. If this was the Haalands or the or even Gyökeres, Gyökeres at home in a match like this would be minus 175, minus $2. This guy's plus 108 to score at home against one of the teams who are fighting for relegation. Brentford are so strong at home. They score so many goals. I think they're the 3rd highest goal scorers at home behind Manchester City and Arsenal. They've also got the 3rd best home record behind those 2 as well. This is a very, very difficult ask for Forest after a Europa League match. I love that bet that Jack's gone there, but I've gone on the price purely for Thiago. He scored 5 goals in his last 3 starts for Brentford as well. I also think, I said touch at the beginning of this show, I'm not convinced by Haaland at the moment. His body language doesn't look right at the moment. And, he hasn't scored in 8. This guy's 10-1 to be the top goal scorer in the Premier League. He's only 4 behind him. And, Brentford at home, whenever they play, this boy looks like scoring goals. He scored in the reverse fixture as well. And who would have thought on the reverse fixture, by the way, when Nottingham Forest won this game 3-1, Brentford went down to plus 175 to be relegated then. And now Forest are in the bottom fighting for relegation, and Brentford are on the cusp of Champions League spots. What a turnaround that Keith Andrews has done. We all thought that Brentford were doomed after that match because that performance was so bad. and what he's done is incredible. And most of it is done on home form. So I do like the home play, but I think on the price, if Brentford win at home, Thiago usually scores, and at plus 108 compared to minus 103, I'm going to go with the Brazilian to score at plus 108.
Plenty invested on that game in West London between Brentford and Nottingham Forest from the team this weekend. One more game to look at. It's Monday night, local 3 p.m. Eastern. Everton against Leeds. Everton plus 143. Leeds plus 215. Jack, you have got a lean for a prop here. Everton have got players back after AFCON, I presume, and Jai and Gay may be back in the team here, and Everton pulling a rabbit out the hat with that win at Villa last time out. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, that was a big win for them, wasn't it? I've gone with a kind of a bit of a narrative here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin to score or assist at plus 130, returning to his old club where he served them very well over the years. Didn't end quite so well, obviously, with injuries, really, but he's proved himself back this season. Phenomenal stuff. And so Leeds have been very, very good. They've put in some really good performance, mainly at home, but they've not got the best road record, but they've been tough to beat, and they should have got something from that last game out, which ended their kind of unbeaten run on the road. They had 3 ties prior to it, and then they got beat 4-3, didn't they, by Newcastle in the game of the season, I think, where they took the lead 3 times and then conceded after about 100 minutes. So very unfortunate. And Everton, I think the jury's still out a little bit for me. They've got kind of deceptive defensive stats that look pretty good, but they've got the 3rd worst expected goals against. They've only conceded 25 goals, though, and only Arsenal have kept more clean sheets. But they keep throwing out the chances. Are people going to take them? And I think that at the prices, I'm happy to go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has been superb. Everton are pretty weak at set pieces, and he is formidable in the air. Calvert-Lewin, his hold-up play, his assist play is good. 9 goals, 1 assist, 41 shots, 19 on target, 37 of those in the box. Expected goals of 8, 12 big chances. He's performing really well. I'm going to take him to score or assist at plus 130 as Malene.
Plus 130. Yeah, I think overs is a bit undervalued for me here. It's plus money overs. As you say, they do give plenty of chances away. Leeds don't win away, though, Nigel. Last word on the week from your good self. That's the issue. But they have been scoring a little bit. They have been better since the change of style as well. Any angles in for you on the Monday night game?
They haven't been great, but nor have Everton. Only 1 win in 6 at home. We said how it was going to be tough. They had a good, hard team to beat at home, but their home form was really deserted them. They've been better on the road. They went to Man United and won. They went to Aston Villa and won. Big problem for us. Grealish is out. He's going to be out for 3 months, isn't it? So I think that could be the end of his career at Everton before he's even begun. He'd probably be in the transfer window at the end of the season. Players back from the AFCON, which is an encouragement for them. But we've agreed on a lot of things on this show, myself and Jack, throughout today. And my lean here is Dominic Calvert-Lewin to return with a goal at plus 190. So we end with another agreement. And as you can see by the P&L on the show, it's not a bad thing, is it, really?
Excuse me. Very good. Look, Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Great stuff. Hopefully, Nigel will find the 0-0 detector by next week. Well, no, I don't think we'll have many 0-0s this weekend. Let's hope for goals from the boys. Let's hope we can cash some tickets. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly Premier League show. Matchday 23. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section on YouTube. We're back next week for more EPL previews from all of us. For now, though, it is goodbye.